Hi, I'm Patrick Stegall. I'm a Mississippi and Tennessee criminal defense attorney, and today I want to talk about the crime of possession of drug paraphernalia under Mississippi laws in the state of Mississippi. I think we all know what paraphernalia is. It's considered a controlled substance, basically. Anything that can be used to contain or transport or store drugs, anything used to ingest or inject drugs. It can be bags, baggies, pipes, needles, things like that. So the crime of paraphernalia possession is separate from the crime of controlled substance possession. Frequently in Mississippi, if you see people or if you are charged with this offense, it's because of a traffic stop. That's usually how people get charged with this. It comes out of a traffic stop, you're pulled over for speeding or not having your seatbelt on, and the officer searches the car, maybe says they either smell drugs or they see something, they ask for your consent to search, and they find some paraphernalia. Or sometimes the individual, the driver, will just admit that, yeah, I've got some paraphernalia or I've got some drugs in the car. A lot of times it's, like I said, it can be a pipe or it can be a baggie. Maybe there's some marijuana, maybe there's a little bit of marijuana left in the bag, maybe just a few leaves, very small amount. So they'll just consider the bag to be the paraphernalia and charge you with that. So paraphernalia possession, what is that exactly penalty-wise? It's a misdemeanor in Mississippi. It's punishable up to 6 months and a $500 fine. Now there is one other consequence of this being a drug crime, being a violation of Mississippi's Uniform Controlled Substances Law. If you are convicted of this offense, you will have your license suspended for 6 months. If you have a Mississippi license, they will report it to the Mississippi Department of Public Transportation, and your license is suspended. Now, if you have an out-of-state license, if you're from somewhere else, you're driving through and you get charged with this offense, and if you are convicted, then Mississippi will report that to your home state, and it's up to them as to what to do. So if you hold a license from another state, if they have a similar kind of law that says if you violate our drug laws, you lose your license, then you could lose your license. Mississippi can report that. Your home state can treat it however they want to. So that's kind of those are the consequences of a paraphernalia conviction. Now I keep saying if you are convicted, because there are other options to that, or other outcomes. Convicted obviously means you're found guilty. You can always have a trial. If you have a trial and you're found guilty, then you can be convicted that way. You can go in and plead. Some people just want to just plead guilty and pay the fine and go on with their life, and maybe they don't realize that there's this other consequence to it. So you have to be careful. You need to avoid a conviction, and there are some ways to do that. It really depends on each case. I mentioned trial. You could have a trial and you could be found not guilty. That's not always the best option. That's usually not necessary in a case, a misdemeanor case. Not too many misdemeanors actually go to trial. You do have that option, but there could be better options than that. If you are eligible for non-adjudication, if you're a first-time offender, then you can go through this program. You do have to plead guilty to it, but it is not a conviction. You simply plead guilty, and you do have to go through 6 months of probation. And what that is going to require is really up to the judge. Each judge and each county might do things differently. It could be supervised probation, could be unsupervised probation. Go through that, and at the end of the 6 months, it can be dismissed and expunged from your record. There's never a conviction. That's the whole purpose of non-adjudication. Some states call it diversion. In Mississippi, they call it non-adjudication. You are not convicted. The sentence and the conviction is withheld from your record. You are simply placed on that probationary period. If you successfully complete that, it can be wiped clean. And that way you don't incur the driver's license penalty or the driver's license suspension, because again, there's never a conviction. So all these cases are different, but you do have options. If you're charged with paraphernalia possession in Mississippi, you should call me and tell me about your case and about yourself, and I'll see what I can work out. I can probably help you out. Again, I'm Patrick Stegall, and thanks for watching.